The moment is here, and this is the video that I have been promising you guys that I'm going to put together. And it is my experience with the twin flame journey. Yes, it's the long-awaited video that some of you have even asked me, but I felt guided to do this, and here it is. But I'm going to break this up in section because it takes a while, okay? It was quite a while, and I had to figure out, I'm horrible with dates. And so if I had mentioned any time frame to anyone, I may have been off. I would have to say that my journey had started in 2018. And I'm only going to share my part of the journey, my experience, and my twin will share his when he feels ready and if he chooses to. Okay, so just mine. And it really was a journey about, it was painful, guys. It was extremely painful, where I went through a whole lot of purging. Okay, lots of pain, lots of purging, and that is to remove the many layers I had that was blocking me from experiencing God's love. Because this is what I've come to find out that this journey really is about. And there were just too much within me that had prevented that from happening, prevented me from really experiencing this journey in the way that it was meant to be experienced. And it was a fight. I fought and the universe fought back with me and so forth. But I'll let you know all the different ways that this was happening. But it has been a journey of coming back to my soul and understanding energy, understanding connection, understanding that love truly exists. And this journey, we're meant to experience that, especially the love for ourselves, okay? And all right, so I was born on New Year's Day in Haiti. No, I'm just kidding with you guys. I'm not gonna start all the way back there, but I truly was born on New Year's Day on an island called Haiti. Not the whole island, as you know. We share it with Dominican Republic, but there it is. No, actually, I was married with my karmic soulmate for about 10 years. And the marriage was done. The marriage had reached a moment where it was just completely over. My feelings were just gone. And I had felt really depleted from the years being in that marriage. And it wasn't just myself, you know. Let's just put it this way. It was just not meant to be. That connection wasn't meant to be for us to experience, you know, harmony and to be together in the long haul and stuff. It certainly had its purpose, and I learned so much about relationships through this marriage and didn't know what I was looking at, didn't know it was part of my mission, didn't know I was going to be doing all of this kind of stuff, all of this work. But I saw a lot, and of course I got my kids from the marriage, and so I appreciate that aspect of it. But when the marriage had ended, I didn't know who I was anymore. I hid so much of what I really wanted for myself and in life. I hid a lot of my feelings from those around me and so forth. I felt like I lost myself. And I was like, you know what? I'm on a journey to rediscover myself. I want to know who I am again. I want to be that person I used to be back then, who is like bubbly, exciting, and just like overall enjoying life and going for the things I want, doing whatever that looked like. I wanted to know me all over again. And so I started to do this, and I really thought I was going somewhere with this until my twin appeared, okay? And then I discovered I barely got started. And so when I met him, I didn't know anything about twin flame, like zero, nothing. And I don't even know at what point we met each other. I can't even tell you when it first started and so forth. But I can remember that he was in this store near where I lived. And I would go in there and then we would just have conversations with each other and crack each other up and things like that. And then there was this one particular night, I went to a bar and wind up meeting someone there. And this person was like, how about we exchange numbers? I was like, oh, okay, that sounds cool, and things like that. Then I stopped by the store afterwards and he was there. And he wound up telling me, how about we we go for drinks sometime? I was nervous about being asked about this. I got taken by surprise, and I was exiting the door at the same time while I was saying, yeah, sure, how about we do that, and things like that, and walked out without getting any phone number. We didn't get to exchange phone numbers. Being asked out by two different men, I felt like I had goddess vibes. I was like, what on earth is going on here? And so then this is where things started to change. You know, some people would talk about the love at first sight. I would have to say it was in this moment, everything shifted inside of me. And he was no longer that person that was just there that will talk and laugh. Now I didn't even know how to talk to him anymore. It was like some sort of nervousness, and it was the connection. It was the connection waking up. You know, I have to say I was one of those I call lucky ones. And I'm not saying you're unlucky if you went years and you didn't realize it, but I had the opportunity of starting to see this connection very early on. And I had no idea what I was looking at. I didn't know anything about twin flames at this time. So then I would go into the store. Before I would go into the store, I had shaking legs. I didn't feel stable. I lost my voice. I would literally pray to God and be like, God, please be my strength. Be my voice. I no longer knew how to talk to him and had to do that before going in. And I wouldn't go to him right away. I would kind of walk around in a different place, but then he would greet me. And when he spoke, okay, this is bringing me chills remembering this. This is the soul recognition that I had experienced. And it felt like his voice surrounded me. Like there was nothing else around. That like I was just engulfed in this. It was like, how to describe this? Like, it felt like home. And it was this base feeling or something. It just felt like it was in the cosmos and so forth. And so about a few weeks went by. No one ever brought up this, let's go out on a date, exchange phone numbers and stuff like that. I had no idea how to bring it up. And I would say we were both nervous until this one day he decided to write his number on a receipt and hand it to me. And then after that, things were magical. I do have to say that when we started going out, I had the most amazing time of my life. Truly amazing. And, you know, I love playing pool. And for some reason, like, I don't consider myself great at playing pool, but I feel like I am. I feel like I'm not giving myself enough credit. So when I play pool with other guys, I usually win. Not to blow my head up, but I usually do. But with him, I met my match. Lost about a couple of games and we tied and so forth, but I was actually losing. Like, I met my match. And it was just a really, really fun time. But I started to notice certain things. Some things were happening that made me feel like I was dating myself. He was doing things that, and saying things that I had locked down inside of me and had totally forgotten about it. Different experiences were showing up. Things that I had always wanted in life were starting to show up. And for example, I can remember when I was living with my ex, I would say, I wish I have a partner who would help clean the home when I'm not there so I can come back to something nice. And I remember my twin saying I was the kind of husband that would clean before his ex-wife would come home. And then I was just like, are you serious? Like, I wasn't saying anything at first. These things were coming to me from him. And I remember looking at him like, what? What? And then the telepathic communication started. And I would say or think something, and literally the next day or two, he would say it. Usually the next day, he would say it. He showed me so many aspects of myself that I had shut down. And because of that, like, I felt normal and I wanted to explore all of those things. I wanted to bring them out again. And it was also things like astrology. Like, I was into it, and he had read the whole book on astrology. He studied the moon, and he was already meditating. Like, he was doing all of these things. And because I got shown that these things are normal, I decided I was just going to open up this world. No more. I wasn't going to hide myself from spirituality, from astrology, from anything of the unknown that the culture that I grew up in had taught me to do. And so at the time, I had my best friend, and she was my best friend of 30 years. And I said to her, there is something special about this connection. And she was just like, bless her heart, okay? She was like, oh girl, you said that before. Don't worry about it, and that kind of stuff, you know, it's all right. And I said, no, something weird is going on here. There is something about this connection. Like, why does it feel like I'm dating myself? Why does it seem like he hears my thoughts and so forth, okay? And so then I started to look at him differently. I started feeling really weirded out. Oh, but before that, before I felt weirded out, I felt like I found the one. I was overwhelmed with excitement. Like, whoo! I felt like I ran a marathon. My whole life, I had been running a marathon, and I finally made it and won gold medal. I felt accepted in every single way. It was like the things that my previous partners would just shut down about me, he laughed about it. We both laughed. And I was free to express myself, my thoughts, like I could be me. And I've never experienced this level of connection with anyone. And I was like, God, you sent him. You finally sent him. And then I started to see him. I started to see the soul in him. And I had never seen soul. I wasn't spiritual. I wasn't connecting with spirits. Nothing. Okay. I was pretty much in the 3D, not following my intuition, trying to make peace with my intuition, because after my previous relationships had collapsed, I was like, you know what? My intuition was always correct. And so I was at that point where I was beginning to trust my intuition so that I don't go down the rabbit hole again of an awful relationship ever again. Okay. But I saw a soul, and I remember looking at him And he didn't know I was looking at him this way. And I looked at him, through him, and I was asking, mentally asking, who are you? And why are you in this man's body? Why does it feel like you've been looking at me my whole entire life? Like, what on earth is going on here? I was in the twilight zone. And then I became sick. I became really sick, okay? Heart palpitation, blurred vision, headache, weakness. I didn't know what was going on with me. At the time, I was going through my first dark night of the soul. And I can remember looking at him, and I'm thinking these things because I'm over here thinking it's just me, okay? I didn't know what twin flames were. And I remember looking at him and wondering, is this you? Are you doing this to me? And all I know is that I wanted to feel better. But I found gold. It was like, how do you let gold go? I wanted to end things because I wanted to feel better. But how do you let gold go when it feels so good, when it feels so right? Like, it felt like the one. You know, how do you let the one go? And so I wasn't going to do that. I was going to figure out how on earth was I going to continue this through my sickness. And then I even heard from some family members, certain family members was like, I don't understand this, 𝐏𝐿. The two of you act like you've known each other. I was like, what do you mean? I had no idea. All the twin flame signs, guys, were just showing up. She was like, you guys just met each other not too long ago. Like, you started going out with each other not too long ago. How is it that you're acting like you've always known each other? Like, you skipped that whole getting to know aspect. I still didn't know what she was talking about. I was like, I don't know. I just feel really comfortable with him. And then everything was going great, you know, in heaven. I was in heaven. Things were working out well. And then the day came. Oh, God, that day. All right. So normally he responded quickly to my text messages. And so this was the day that he didn't. And hours went by. And I panicked. And I began to message him and say, you know what? Are you ghosting me? Because if you're ghosting me, just let me know right now. I'm going to be okay with this. He didn't ghost me, okay? This was my fear coming up, my fear of being ghosted, because I was ghosted in the past. And it hurt a lot. You know, ghosting hurts a lot. And I didn't know I would wind up going down that pattern of being a ghoster, which I'll explain in another video down the line. But I was terrified that this wonderful person was ghosting me. And so then he messaged me and he was like, we need to talk. And then we wind up having a phone conversation and he called things off. And I was very heartbroken. I was shattered. I didn't chase, I accepted it. I was feeling jealous of whoever he encounters in the future, because I do have to throw this in. And another aspect of this journey that I didn't realize was the Kundalini awakening. And boy, I thought he had skills. And don't get me wrong, do not get me wrong on this. But I didn't know that was also a part of the connection, was experiencing that and so forth. And I felt so jealous. I was like, you know, since this dude has so much skills, whoever is going to get out of him is like, I'm freaking jealous of that and so forth. But I had to let it go. I had to let it go. And then I entered intense pain. Okay? Very intense, feeling like I lost a part of myself. I cried so much. And I remember going on a cruise not too long after that and being on the ship with a whole bunch of guys. The universe might have been doing this to me. With similar features from him was therapy. Because I needed that frequent exposure to help me heal. Because I felt like I just couldn't. Oh my goodness, it was too much. It was very, very intense pain. And then I started to ask myself questions about this. I'm like, it was only about between 3 and 4 weeks of encounter. I was like, why am I having this much pain? Why am I feeling this much pain for someone that I barely knew? Okay? And it was a wake-up call. And that's when I began to really see my fear of abandonment. I began to tie it to that and to find out, you know, this fear of abandonment, to learn more about it that had kept me in a marriage for so long that, not that it was supposed to end in the beginning. Obviously, I learned so much and got my kids, but it kept it going on too long. It was that fear of being abandoned. And this is what was being revealed to me. But because he was gone from the picture, the brighter side of it, I say brighter, is because I wanted to know what this was. And I couldn't when I was feeling sick in his presence and so forth. And when he left and I was able to gain some amount of strength, I decided to research it. And I was typed in Google and I was like feeling like I was dating myself. And I came across the word twin flames. And then in my research, maybe I went into Facebook or so or kept researching, but I came across a Facebook group just for women about twin flames and discovered there was a whole world of people out here talking about twin flames and so forth. And I was just like, I was really shocked by it. But the messages that I received about twin flames at that time just really prolonged my journey, the misunderstanding that I received. And that's what I'm going to discuss in the next video. And I'll catch you guys in that video.